Hello, everybody. Welcome to Raven's Escape Craft channel. I am Sue. I am the owner and head and only crafter for Raven's Escape Crafts. If you saw my last video, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm a long time hooker who does not take herself very seriously. I've been revamping my business lately to work on Ren Faire and festival and cosplay items. I was more focused on utilitarian items before, and I have now decided to revamp my business and work mostly on like Ren Faire items and things like that. So I'm on here to talk with you guys about crochet, of course, other stuff. I'm a big time reader, and we're going to talk some, today we're going to do a little bit of Premier yarns. I want to talk about them a little bit. So this hood, which I think is so cute. This is one of my new hoods it has flowers on it instead of braids. And then it's made, this is the side. And then I also made some gauntlets that each have a flower with the same yarn. And I also made some bags. This is a little bag for like your ID and your cards. It's got, I put buttons on it so that it stays closed. And then this one's like a drawstring. You can see it. Like a potion bag or a trinket bag. And these both have that you can put them on your belt. Like I said, I'll open this one up. And then this one is a little card holder for like your credit cards and your ID, so you don't have to carry them all over the place. So that is one of my newest. It's going on my Etsy shop probably today. It's going to be a whole set. It's going to come with the hood. It's going to come with the gauntlets. I just love the gauntlets. I just want to wear them. And then the hood. The hood's super comfortable too. And like I said, it has the flowers instead of braids. And that was made with the Premier Serenity. Yep, Serenity Chunky Candy. And I believe this is the same color that it is called Primary, yes. That is the same one as this. So I just got some more because I just finished this, and that same day, Jennifer from Cinnamon Stitches comes on her channel and starts talking about how it's on sale for, I think it was like $3 something. I don't remember exactly. So of course, I have plenty of yarn. I did not need more yarn. I have projects in my head that I want to work on, that I need to get done. And I have yarn for almost all of them. But I had just finished this, and so yeah, that's what happened. Then Jen from Cinnamon Stitches, I'm you. That's okay. So I got that. And then of course, since it was on sale, I couldn't help but get more colors. So this is color Wildflower. Right now, this is let me read the label, a bulky 5, and they recommend a 8mm crochet hook and knitting needle. It is how many yards? 109 yards. I apologize, my allergies are terrible today. I'm gonna try not to cough. 100 grams, 100 meters, 3.5 ounces, 100% acrylic. And I have to say, I've used kinds of yarn like this other times, and sometimes it's a little, not scratchy. I don't want to call it scratchy, but it doesn't slide, especially when you're crocheting it. It doesn't glide nice, and this does. Hold on. I'm not gonna lie, this is so nice. This worked up so nice, which is why I ended up, yeah, getting more of it. And then I got this color too, which is sprinkles. Look at that. Can't wait to use this one. I got a couple of those. This is another, I think, sprinkles. Yeah, another sprinkles. All right, let's see what else I got. All right, more. This is color sprinkles. So 3 more sprinkles. There you go. And then I got confetti, which is this color. Let's see it. So I got some of that. And is this another one? Oh, and then some more wildflower. That's more of the wildflower. I like all of them. I want to make stuff out of all of them. So I got those. And then I have not had this one before. So I'm excited to try it. This is the Premier Basics Mosaic. It's a number 4 worsted. And this is the color Grapevine. I don't know why it's grapevine, but it's like browns and greens and a little bit of blue. It's not picking up the blue too well on my camera. But I got 3 of these. Again, this is a 4 worsted, but I like the way it's like the wrapped. Can you see it in the package? I don't really want to pull it out. So I think this will make some really cool Ren Faire stuff. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to make with it yet. And then I picked up a bunch of their ombre, the Just Yarn ombre. This is the green. It's kind of hard to see in the plastic. I don't really want to take it out. All right, hold on. I can take it out. So that's the green ombre. Again, this is a 4 worsted, and it's nice and soft. They recommend 5mm crochet hooks, or US 8, 5.5 millimeter. 5mm knitting needles. I'm so sorry. Or a US 8, or a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook, or a US I9. And then you get 612 yards of this, 560 meters. 280 grams, 9.8 ounces, 100% acrylic. I think this is going to make some really neat. I'm not sure what I'm going to... I got a couple of those. I got that in the blue. I got it in a purple. Let's see the purple. And there's the blue. So, I have lots of ideas to a big box of yarn now in front of me that I gotta figure out where to go with because I don't have room for it. Jennifer from Cinnamon Stitches. I know she has the same problem. I see her. She talks about it all the time. So that's what I got. And like I said, I made this hood. It is really, like I said, I've used other yarn that looks similar to this, like not exactly like this. This is a lot chaotic, which I love. I am sort of chaos. I'm a Virgo, so I like everything in its place, but I'm also like generally chaotic. I don't know how to explain it. I'm a hot mess. I'm a hot mess is what I am. So, but like I said, I've used other yarn like this and it was like harder to crochet with. This, the hook slides like butter. This took me no time at all. I think I made this hood in a morning while I was watching TV. And the flowers took me a little bit longer. The cuffs, again, like an afternoon. And the hood, the cuffs, and the 2 bags. This was 2 balls of the Serenity Chunky. This is 2. That's it. So, it's not a lot. You know what I mean? It didn't take a lot to to make it. It goes pretty far. I mean, it is a chunky yarn, so, now I don't know how many you need for a blanket. I used to make a ton of blankets. Let's put it this way. I made, of course, as a new crocheter and a new knitter, basically I worked on a lot of blankets, and I've made so many blankets. We don't know where to go with them. And I've given some away. I've made for other people. But our house is pretty much at capacity with blankets at this point. Like, we could probably survive, some sort of a tragic freezing just in blankets. My son, my older son, Logan, he's 14, almost 15. He loves to sit on the couch with, like, we call it the blanket pile, and he just, like, piles them up on himself. I think it's like a comfort thing, because I was always one to have blankets. So I drove my mother crazy growing up. So I lived in a very old house. Very old for the United States. It was early 1800s. And so everything was old. And basically our main source of heat was a coal stove in the living room. So my room was at the very top of the steps. But of course it was an old house, so we had a door at the bottom of the steps because they did that back then. And so during the day, everybody kept the door closed. So my room was nice and cold. And then, like, at night, they would leave the door open to let some of the heat go upstairs. Well, I didn't like the heat. I got used to my room being cold. I liked my room being cold. So, like, when they would open that door, I would, like, stuff things under my door so the heat couldn't come in. And then when I was, I don't know, like maybe a teenager, we did have a furnace, okay? Somebody had updated the house, put ductwork in, and put a furnace in. But it never worked when we were kids. We needed a new furnace. My parents didn't have money to replace it, so we heated the house with coal. So when I was like early teens, maybe, they fixed the furnace because coal was getting really expensive. And so I actually took a screwdriver and took my vent in my room off and like covered it with insulation and then a garbage bag so that the heat couldn't come into my room through the vent. It was like, no, I don't want heat. So, and then I screwed it back on. And my mother used to come in my room and be like, oh my God, you could hang meat in here. Why is it so cold in your bedroom? I don't know. Must be the vents blocked or something. I don't know. And then she said, well, So I used to sleep, and this also drove her nuts because once we hit a certain age, obviously we had to make our own beds. But when we were younger, she would make our beds. And of course, like in the wintertime, I would keep sneaking more blankets on my bed. So I would have like 8 or 9 blankets on my bed because I was scared of ghosts and monsters, and all that weight made me feel secure. And then of course I kept it like at a freezer in my room, so I was cold enough that I could go under there and not get really hot. So of course when she had to change my sheets every week, she's like, I am not putting 8 blankets back on your bed. That is ridiculous. Like, okay, we'll just like leave them and I'll put them back on myself. So I always loved blankets. The story is because like my son is like that now. I mean, he has to have like all these blankets when he sits on the couch, and he like, my husband calls it the blanket pile. He like pulls it up on his lap and he's like completely covered up to like his face with blankets. I'm like, sorry, he gets stuff from me. I think it's like a comfort thing. It's like, I don't know. But what I'm saying is I don't make a lot of blankets anymore. That's my whole point. They don't, as far as selling, people don't, the amount of work that goes into making a blanket, especially a larger blanket, to charge what it's worth to make the blanket. And I don't mean just like supplies. I mean time and supplies. It's just, you can't charge what you need to charge. If you're going to charge $400 for a blanket, who's going to pay that? When you could go to Walmart and get a blanket for $20. And even if it's something beautiful and something you really wanted, I mean, ooh, shoot. Oh crap. Oops. Just threw you out. Hope you're okay. Are you all right? Are you all right? Are you okay? Okay. Do you need medical? Okay. You're okay? Okay. I'm so sorry about that. So like I said, I'm just starting out with this channel. We'll get this. We got this together, right? So, like I said, it just doesn't, I've made 1 or 2 blankets for people, and I've undercharged them, like I had a friend who wanted a king size ripple stitch blanket, and she wanted it in her wedding colors. She wanted a king size blanket. I mean, it was like 25 skeins of yarn. Now, I mean, they weren't like huge. They were like I think I did the big twist value, not the big ball, not the pound plus, just the value. And I think it took like 26 skeins of yarn. So, I mean, that was a lot. And then hours and hours and hours and hours. I didn't track how many hours it took me. I knew. I mean, I'm glad she loves it. She has it on her bed. It's meaningful to her. And so I totally, I got what I paid in yarn plus a little bit, for my time. But, and I like to crochet. So, and like I said, it was for a friend. But as for a business standpoint, it's not worth it. It really isn't. I made another blanket for another person somebody I went to school with, and she had asked for one. And again, I mean, I made maybe $1 an hour. That one was a lot simpler. But if I paid myself for my time, maybe 50 cents an hour, $1 an hour, it's just not a good business sense. If you're doing it for a labor of love, something just for fun, 1,000%. But like I said, I do love making blankets. I just made one not too long ago. I got some I got some of the Bernat blanket, which I'm not a huge fan of, but they came out with really cool new colors, so I got some and I made a blanket out of that, because those are easy to whip up, and my kids like them, and it goes with our furniture and stuff like that. But I don't make them for profit or for my business, because it just doesn't, it's just not a good business, at least for me. I mean, I know a lot of people sell them, and if you do, more power to you. I just don't, I don't know that you're getting your value of what you put into them out of it. And if you're okay with that, hey, some people just want to crochet and sell the things so they can have more money for yarn. And you absolutely can make enough off of a blanket to buy more yarn, for stuff that you want to do. So that's just, I don't know why I went on that rant. I don't know how we got, this is what you're going to learn about me. I'm very squirrel sometimes. Today is one of them. I didn't sleep real good. And I don't even know why. And now my eyes are they have chosen violence. So, I think some of it's allergies, some perimenopause. I don't know anymore. So I don't know. I don't know. I have to laugh, because if I don't, sometimes, but that's neither here nor there. So I wanted to show you my new yarn. Oh, and I showed you that hood I was working on yesterday. So now I've gotten the hood part done, because that's not too hard. And I'm not going to tell you what this is. I'm just going to show you a little sneako peeko of it. This is what I'm working on today. Ooh, this is going to go with the hood. So I wanted to show you a little sneak peek as to what I was working on. I'll show it to you when it's all done and it's ready to go in my Etsy shop. But like I said, I've been working on doing some, coming up with some new patterns and stuff. Like I said, this is again, I did not get this inspiration from anybody. I have not seen people put like the flowers. I'm sure people have. But these are my flowers. These are my gauntlets. These are not somebody else's pattern. These are all mine. I've been making hoods like this forever. I don't know where. So that's basically what I want. I wanted to show you guys the new yarn. I have to figure out exactly, do I want to make more of these? I kind of like this, but I'm thinking like maybe something like this one, which is more like blues and pinks. I mean, it does have some green in it, but I'm thinking more, I don't know, like druidy than just cute elf hood. Of course, this could be a druid hood too. And the nice thing about these hoods, let me tell you, the nice thing about these hoods is they're so versatile, okay? If you don't make hoods, the cool thing is they're versatile because like you can wear them with almost anything. You can wear them with it. They pair well with a dress. They pair well with a cloak with no hood. They can be, obviously this one's very colorful, but you can make them for men and for women. In fact, I'm going to be working on a lot more guy stuff. My husband has requested more. It's like, they make really cool stuff for women, but again, guys get left out with a lot of the stuff. So, and he's right. I mean, I get it. Like you go to a Ren Faire, you go to even like cosplay, and there's like so many cool, these flower garlands and elf things and druid and all these witch hats and like they don't focus on like, he was like, I made all these witch hats. He's like, what about wizard hats? I'm like, well, they're the same. And he's like, yeah, but guys generally are going to want to wear the super colorful hats to be a wizard. And I'm like, and especially with the sparkle in them. He's like, they might, but not always. You know what I mean? They might want, you're going to get more guys who are going to want like a simpler wizard hat, and I'm like, yeah, that's true. And even like a lot of times when you see, and this is just a generalization, when you go to like a Ren Faire, there's a lot of guys are either like super dressed up or like wearing a tunic and a pair of slacks, so, they generally are either like super into it or kind of like, here, I put an outfit together, and there just is not as a lot. I mean, there's a lot of things that guys can go as, and there's a lot of outfits that they can, for them, but it's not quite the variety of the girls, the women's dresses and the corsets and the, like I said, there's all sorts of hats and headpieces for women too. And so I'm going to work on some guy stuff too. But of course, I think these are like the most super funnest thing. And like I said, you can wear these. The nice thing is you can put these on. They keep the sun off your face if you're prone to sunburn. They're also really, really good if it's windy. It keeps the wind out of your ears. It keeps the wind off your hair. You can always put them down. Excuse my hair. I know it's terrible. Excuse my eyes. Like I said, they chose violence today. Oh, and now my phone's going to ring. Hold on. All right, so these you can actually, like, if you just put it through, you can put the hood down and wear it like that. So if it's hot, you can easily take it down. Just let it hang on your back. Again, if the sun's bothering you, you get chilly, it pops back up. They look cute just hanging back in the back too, even if you don't have it up. And then of course you have your gauntlets and your other stuff. So they're super versatile. And like I said, I don't really do patterns, but if anybody really wants to know how to make them, I can show you. I don't know what kind of videos everybody's interested in. For right now, it's just kind of going to be my chit chat with me. and usually crochet. Today I wanted to show you the yarn, and the pattern I'm doing is going to take a little concentration, not like making the hood was yesterday. So that I could do in my sleep. This one I need to actually count everything, so it's going to be a little harder to do on camera. But like I said, I have all these cool ideas, and I've been watching for, if you're looking for inspiration for things like this, I've been going on YouTube and watching people's Ren Faire videos, and not necessarily copying what they're wearing. I'm looking at what other people in the Ren Faire are wearing, what some of the actors are wearing, what are they selling at the Ren Faire? So these are things that I know are going to be popular, or at least are relevant, you know what I mean? And I have a million ideas ahead of time. Like I said, I've been a total nerd with fantasy for years, obviously, and I read a lot of books. I've read tons of fantasy books. I'm more of a romantasy person, I'm not going to lie, but I have read a ton of fantasy, and of course, and historical romances, and who doesn't love Outlander? Who doesn't love? Of course, I read the ACOTAR books. Jumped on that train. I really enjoyed them thoroughly. There's a lot of those kind of the C.L. Lewis books. Oh my goodness, the Terran Soul books. Oh my God, love, 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 love. I know they have the most god awful covers in the whole world. If you have not read them, they are like so good. The covers, look, they're bad. But again, don't judge a book by its cover. If you're a reader, those are really good. Or C.L. Wilson. No, not C.L. C.L. Wilson, the Terran Soul series. Oh my God, so good. Chef's kiss. So, and I'm a huge power romance person too. So, I'm hoping to get it's hard for me to come up with ideas. I want to do vampire stuff, but and gothy stuff is, it's hard to crochet. There's some gothy stuff you can crochet. There's some really cool hoods and things. That the Twisted Hatter. I don't know how she does that. I do not know. If you've never seen the Twisted Hatter, the crochet outfits she makes, I have no clue. I have no clue the hoods. I have no clue how she does the outfits. They are boom, mind blown. And of course, she looks amazing in them on top of it. So I'm I have no qualms that I'm going to get to that level. But I would like to try to do some more other costumey stuff. In love with vampires, and not the sparkle kind. No. I am a big Black Dagger Brotherhood. Again, if you haven't read those, if you're into vampires, and that is J.R. Ward's Black Dagger Brotherhood series. There's actually going to be a TV series based on it starting in June on Passion Flix. But I've been reading Black Dagger Brotherhood for years. Years and years. I've read, not quite caught up. I have, I think, 2 books that I'm behind, which is not like me, but I have not been able to read lately. So, but yeah, so I'd like to do some stuff for that, to try to get into some of that cosplay as well as what I can do in crochet. I think that would be super fun. What do you guys think? Is there, obviously I want to do elf, dwarf, druid, obviously archer, fighter kind of outfits as much as I can, and then typical Renaissance things. I'm trying to figure out how to make some of the, especially the headpieces and the hats. I'm trying to figure out how to structure them so that they'll stay. But I think I could do some really cool things in crochet with those. And then of course, like I said, I like cosplay too. Obviously D&D is huge. People are, obviously Stranger Things made it even bigger again which is amazing, you know, because it was big when I was a kid and now it's like big again. Like Star Wars, you know, Star Wars was so cool when we were kids, and then it kind of died. It never really died off, but like the intensity of it now is like beyond. So that's amazing. So, I got lost in thought. Hold on, loading. What was I talking about? I was talking about cosplay. Right? Was I? Oh my God. I swear. You know, I'm in perimenopause, and if you don't want to hear about this, you can always turn it off. But like, I swear, like the brain fog is real, people. You know, some days I think it's you know, your hormones, like when you're in peri, like it's no joke. Like I remember my mother going through it, and I was like, oh my God, what is wrong with her? Ugh. And now I'm like, oh my God, I get it. I so get it. Ugh. I don't want to be one of those people, but like, you know, it is a roller coaster. That's all I have to say. It is a roller coaster that you want to get off of, and it is like, oh hell no, here's another hill, bitch. You know, so yeah, that's where I'm. You're like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. It's like, too bad, we're going back up the hill. No. So that's my analysis. That's my personal experience with perimenopause. It's sort of a nightmare of a roller coaster ride that you don't get off of. And before anybody puts in the comments, like obviously I know that there's HRT and different things, and I don't need, you know, medical advice. I just that's how I feel about it. Let's just put it that way. So I said I try to come up with like really cool stuff. I'm like, my brain's always like working. And of course, you know, the hard thing is like how I know what I want things to look like, but how do I structure that in crochet? You know what I mean? So I'm working on some of that behind the scenes. I'm working on that, trying to come up with new stuff. I obviously have to work on my shops, I need to get rid of a lot of inventory. I need to sell some stuff so that I can like clean slate and rebrand and the business for all this, you know, Ren Faire cosplay. Because like I said, I said it in my last video, I love to dress up. And so this is like my dream to like do all this kind of stuff. And I guess I never, well, you know, we all have imposter syndrome, and I mean, most of us do, I think. And like when I started the business, I was like, well, who's gonna buy like my goofy, weird nerd stuff? And because I always made stuff like this, but I was like, well, who's gonna buy that? Like, there's not even a market for it. Well, I've realized over the last few years, there's a lot more nerds out there than I thought. And like, wow, I love it. So help me if you're watching this video, you know, if you to think like, what would you love to see in crochet as far as like anything like Ren Faire, fantasy, cosplay, costumes, like what would you like to see? If you have any ideas of stuff that you'd like to see me try to design, and if I can get things designed and anybody, you know, and people like them, I will gladly do tutorials on to how to make them. I mean, I have to figure out how to make them, but I'm looking for, you know, if, like I said, I'm doing my own research, but if anybody's out there that is like, oh, I wish I had a blah, 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 you know, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Gladly let me know in the comments, and we can talk about, you know, what, you know, see if I can come up with something for you. So I think it's been like 35 minutes. I think I've talked your ear off enough this Friday. hopefully you enjoyed some of my little stories and my content. We'll get to know each other better the more videos I make. But I'm trying to give you a little insight into who I am and where I come from and what I'm working on. And I'm hope to maybe inspire some of you, or hopefully not like Jennifer from Cinnamon Stitches, make you buy more yarn that you don't need. I'm just saying. Bad influence. I don't want to be a bad influence. Well, I do. But I don't. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You guys are the best. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful weekend. I'm probably not going to do videos over the weekend because the fam's home and it's going to be, I'll ever get time, you know. So, probably won't put any videos out till Monday. So, that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your Friday, or whenever you're watching this, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope that you have a great weekend if you're watching this on Friday or whenever. I hope you have a great weekend, even if this is 2 years from now. And I will see you on Monday. Thank you all for watching, and choose love every day.